Thank you for the opportunity of this talk. In my presentation, I will speak about the potential role of cities as major carbon sinks, how low carbon construction will tighten the bond between cities and forests. My name is Uwe Kies. I am Secretary General of InnovaWood, a European research network in the field of wood science, technology and innovation. I am giving this presentation on behalf of the Wood for Bauhaus Alliance, which has been founded by several EU umbrella organizations in the forest-based sector, with the support of various Horizon Europe projects. In my presentation, I will start by giving an overview of the accelerating climate crisis, the built environment, and the new European Bauhaus movement. I will then point out why we should use more wood products in construction for transforming our cities. I will also briefly introduce the objectives of our Wood for Bauhaus Alliance and end with a global vision for climate restoration. The climate crisis is the largest global challenge of all times. Scientists have warned for decades about the effects of global warming on the Earth's ecosystem. Major climate alterations and disasters are now observed on all continents. The global south is impacted most and carrying the heavy burden of climate change, which is a result of the unconstrained industrial growth in the global north, leading to tremendous emissions and the alarming state of the climate we see today. If we do not take action, major components of the Earth system will soon reach their critical thresholds, the so-called tipping points, where they become irreversibly damaged and will turn into a different state. These tipping elements include, for example, the Greenland ice sheet, the Antarctic, the Amazon rainforest, or the permafrost soils, which can become dangerous carbon sources and accelerate the climate crisis even more. It is now obvious that we will not manage to stop global warming at the plus 1.5 degrees Celsius of the Paris Agreement, but that we will enter into a plus 2 degrees Celsius world in the very near future. The crisis we experience today will seem small in comparison. We therefore urgently need to develop new, scalable solutions to extract carbon from the atmosphere. This is the only way to restore the climate to the maximum possible extent. It will be a monumental task for generations to come. The question is, how can we transform our global economy and adapt to this future? Do we listen to the needs of the future generations all across the globe? Are we capable to take bold, transformative decisions, to do what is necessary? Since a few years, the role of the built environment in the climate crisis is coming more into focus. The built environment, including the production of materials, the construction, use and demolition phases of buildings, accounts for almost 40% of all global emissions. The use of concrete, metals and other materials to build our cities has grown exponentially to a level where the human-made mass has already exceeded the total weight of all living biomass on our planet. The main factors are urbanization and population growth. By 2050, 70% of the world's population will live in cities. It will be impossible to fight climate change if all megacities of the future would be built the way we have built in the past. A new positive narrative for the built environment has, however, emerged recently, the new European Bauhaus. Since its launch in 2021 by the President of the European Commission, it has grown into a large grassroots movement, which is attracting a lot of interest from cities, regions and all sorts of local actors. Over 400 partners have joined the NEP. It brings together people of various professions, especially architects, designers, civil engineers, urban planners and the creative sector, to imagine and co-create a new vision of a better, more sustainable and inclusive way of living in cities and rural areas. The NEP is notably also engaging with funding and investment instruments to put on track the financial means and suitable programs for the transformation. The wide scope of the new European Bauhaus includes also a focus on using more biomaterials and nature-based solutions in the built environment. Already in her first State of the Union address in 2020, the President herself has pointed out that we know that the construction sector can even be turned from a carbon source into a sink if organic building materials like wood and smart technologies like AI are applied. The mastermind behind the new European Bauhaus idea is Professor John Schellenhuber, an eminent climate scientist and who has also been a key advisor to the President. He has become in recent years a fervent advocate for renewable biomaterials in construction, and his main statement today is: "We need to reforest the planet and retimber the cities. Timber construction is a true silver bullet for climate change." The main concept behind this idea is that wood is in fact the main climate neutral and even climate negative building material, as can be proven in life cycle assessments of the whole building cycle. In this building material pyramid, different categories of materials are grouped according to their CO2 footprints. Materials like aluminium, steel, cement and concrete are found at the top of the pyramid among the high carbon positive materials, because they are very energy and emission intensive. Bio-based materials, however, such as engineered wood products, embody high amounts of carbon. Under the right conditions, biomaterials, and notably wood, can deliver a climate negative impact, meaning that they store more carbon than they emit during their lifetime. The reason is that wood is a natural material that is produced by trees through photosynthesis. By their natural growth, trees sequester carbon from the atmosphere, both in their trunk, their branches and their roots, and also to a large extent in the surrounding soil. Photosynthesis is the essential process and source of almost the entire life on our planet. Trees should therefore be understood as true carbon pumps. This means that on a landscape scale, forests are a key ecosystem in the climate equation. They must be managed sustainably to ensure their protective function of natural cycles and their supply of multiple wood and non-wood products. And their area should be increased through reforestation and plantation. The wood can then be harvested from forests and feed an entire wood industry sector. It must be understood that a tree provides different types and qualities of timber. Each segment of a tree is best used for a specific purpose. The operational business model of the wood industry relies on these different but simultaneously manufactured co-products. Engineered wood comprises multiple products that are durable, safe and already proven in the built environment, such as mass timber, panel products, floorings and insulation materials. Building with wood is an established available technology and is becoming more known in many countries. However, the total share in construction today is still only between less than 1% to a maximum of 3 to 5% in some countries. Building more with wood can become a major lever for climate restoration. The core idea behind cities as carbon sinks is that managed forest ecosystem can supply wood building materials that embody carbon, which can then be stored and used for a long time in the built environment. The entire forest construction chain can thus become a significant carbon pump. Two key elements in this concept are, first, a circular economy approach, which enables to further extend the lifetime of wood products, why not up to 50 or 100 years? And second, the digital transformation with Industry 4.0 technologies, which are needed to integrate and upscale all steps in the entire industrial value chain and to ensure the monitoring of its sustainability. This will, however, only work if the concept is understood and also taken up by all other involved actors in the built environment, including architects, construction companies, urban and regional planners, decision makers, among many others. Upscaling the forest construction chain is exactly the purpose of the Wood for Bauhaus Alliance. This alliance was created by several umbrella organizations in Europe's wood sector to become a partner for the new European Bauhaus. The main goal is to support the transformation of the built environment into a long-term carbon sink for climate restoration. The objectives are to foster sustainable nature-based materials and solutions, to develop circular long-life wood products and innovations, and to increase industrial upscaling in architecture and construction. We in the Alliance intend to establish an open platform for sharing, co-creation, skills, and policy development, and invite anybody who wishes to support this goal to join forces with us. The idea of cities as carbon sinks is gaining more and more attention. Recent studies point out the immense potential for saving emissions if we transform the built environment from a fossil-based extractive model to a bio-based renewable and circular model. The latest studies by the Potsdam Institute show that timber cities can in fact become truly a major lever for climate restoration. What is needed to upscale and sustain the amount of wood for this transition are significant investments into sustainable forest management and large-scale afforestation of degraded lands, which are abundant on a global scale. These lands are not productive today and do not compete with agriculture, for instance. The management of these new forests will then also ensure biodiversity protection and higher resilience, for example, of existing natural forests. And lastly, the building systems that absorb this timber supply need to become more and more circular to maximize the carbon sink for a longer time. Let me close this presentation with two quotes that capture well this global vision for climate restoration. Professor John Schellenhuber says, "This is the motto. We have to reforest the planet and retimber the city. We have enough degraded land on this planet, about 1 billion hectares, which we could turn into vital ecosystems again, into managed forests. To restore the climate, we need to first add and support 500 billion trees. That is 50 trees per every human being. And second, build 2 billion homes from harvested biomass. This is the nature-based solution. Nature did a fantastic job of extracting CO2 from the atmosphere. We need to replay this process by turning cities into organic mass. To make the built environment sustainable, beautiful and inclusive, we need to bring together high-tech and no-tech." And to underline even more the global dimension, the last quote is from Diébédo Francis Kéré, a famous architect from Burkina Faso who has received the Pritzker Prize in 2022 for his visionary works on beautiful resource-saving architecture in rural communities. He says, "The climate crisis is real. Building materials are limited, population growth is imminent, especially in the so-called Global South, and conflict will intensify because of the few resources we have. This should concern every one of us. It is not because you are rich that you should waste energy, but you have to look for alternatives. It is about combining and engineering materials which are locally available to create structures. There is hope in the world if you use the material in a very smart way. Imagine if the growing population of Africa would behave the way the privileged have behaved in the past. What will be the future of our planet?" Reforesting the planet, retimbering the city. Thank you very much for your attention.